Chapter 23. Manhunt SNC shortly after 9/11, when many members of Al-Qaeda fled Afghanistan and crossed the border into Pakistan. We have played cat and mouse with them. The biggest of them all, Osama bin Laden, is still at large at the time of this writing, but we have caught many others. Some are known to the world, some are not. We have captured 689 and handed over 369 to the United States. We have earned bound ties totaling millions of dollars. Those who habitually accuse us of not doing enough in the war on terror should simply ask the CIA how much prize money it has paid to the government of Pakistan. Here, I will tell the stories of just a few of the most significant manhunts. Abu Zubaydah, a Palestinian national whose real name is Zainul Abidin, was the first high-ranking member of Al-Qaeda caught after the 9/11 attacks, which he had helped plan. He was the chief recruiter and trainer of Al-Qaeda operatives. The CIA had offered a $5 million reward for his capture. After 9/11, Abu Zubaydah came to Pakistan but remained elusive by continually moving among 13 sites in 3 cities, 9 in Faisalabad, 1 in Karachi, and 3 in Lahore. Nonetheless, we learned about his movements by catching lower-level operatives and proceeding on human intelligence. All 13 sites were raided simultaneously by Pakistani intelligence agents supported by our law enforcement agencies. On the night of March 27, 2002, agents from the CIA assisted in the location of sites through technical intelligence. The mission 237-238 in the line of fire was successful. Abu Zubaydah was caught and arrested along with 27 of his Al-Qaeda associates, all of them foreigners. 13 Yemenis, 3 Saudis, 3 Libyans, 3 Palestinians, 1 Russian, 1 Moroccan, 1 Sudanese, and 2 Syrians, one of whom was killed and the other injured. Abu Zubaydah was handed over to the United States on March 30, 2002. The policy followed by Pakistan on the extradition of foreigners has been first to ask their countries of origin to take them back. If a country of origin refuses, as is normally the case, we hand the prisoner over to the United States. This was our single biggest catch at that time, not just numerically but in terms of importance. Those were the early days, when Al-Qaeda operatives were still fleeing from Afghanistan into Pakistan. After Abu Zubaydah's arrest, they thought twice about this and started coming in smaller numbers. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM, was the object of our next manhunt. He was one of the most sought-after terrorists and featured prominently on the FBI's most wanted list, a Kuwaiti-born Iranian national. KSM had most of his schooling in Kuwait and then attended college in North Carolina in 1984. From there, he transferred to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was a member of what is known as the Afghan Alumni Terrorist Network. Its sole reason for existence was to kill as many Americans as possible, anywhere, anyhow. In 1993, KSM spearheaded the attempt to blow up New York's World Trade Center, along with his nephew Ramzi Yousef next. They plotted to blow up about a dozen airliners flying from Southeast Asia to the United States on the same day. They also planned to dispatch a suicide pilot to crash into the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. This was called the Bajinka operation. None of these plans materialized, however, because Ramzi Yousef was arrested in Pakistan in 1995 and handed over to the United States shortly before he could pull off the operation. Other conspirators were arrested too, but KSM managed to get away. When KSM started his life as a terrorist, he was not with Al-Qaeda. He had his own network. During much of the 1990s, KSM first tried to manhunt 239, maintain his operational autonomy, and resisted swearing allegiance to any terrorist leader, because he thought of himself as being in the same mold as Osama bin Laden. But after the failure of the Bajinka operation and the arrest of Ramzi Yousef, he canceled his network and decided to develop closer ties with Al-Qaeda. He wanted to meet Osama bin Laden in 1996, but bin Laden was too busy moving his own family and organization from Sudan to Afghanistan. However, KSM remained in touch with the Al-Qaeda leaders Abdul Rahman Muhajir and Abu Aziz al-Masri in order to develop contacts with key operatives. Finally, in 1996, after Osama bin Laden had moved back to Afghanistan, KSM met him for the first time in Tora Bora. He told Osama about his role in the bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993 and the abortive Bajinka operation. Then KSM presented the idea of 9/11 to Osama bin Laden, But Osama vetoed it, asking KSM to join al-Qaeda first. Insisting that he wished to retain his independence, KSM refused. At the same time, and in order to get money for his operations, KSM developed relations with the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, LIFG, and also with Abu Zubaydah. In 1998 or 1999, perhaps persuaded by Abu Hafs al-Masri, now known to the world by his alias Mohammed Adif, Osama bin Laden approved the plan for 9/11, though of course at that time the exact date could not have been determined. As soon as KSM learned that Osama was on board, he brought his family from Qatar to Kandahar in Afghanistan. The plan for 9/11 was kept secret between Osama bin Laden, Adif, and KSM. Intelligence sources indicate that by 2000, Mullah Omar probably had a fair idea that large-scale operations on Amir Aiken soil were planned, but he did not know any details. It is also said that he was not happy about it, but apparently could do nothing. Mohammed Adif and Osama bin Laden shortlisted the operatives for 9/11 and asked KSM to select the best of them. Al-Qaeda's Shura Council, or Consultative Committee, approved the plan in August 2001. All the main operatives, including Mohammed Adif, Nawaf al-Hazmi, and Khalid al-Mihtar, were trained and dispatched to the United States by KSM. Two people, Mustafa Ahmed Hossawi and Amr al-Balachi, another nephew of KSM, provided money to KSM and provided logistic support to the hijackers from Dubai. 240 in the line of fire on the fateful day. KSM and 4 of his fellow terrorists, Ramzi bin al-Shib, Mustafa Ahmed Hossawi, Amr al-Balachi, and Jafar al-Tayyar, witnessed the attack on the first of the Twin Towers from an internet cafe in Karachi. Then they rushed to a safe house, where they watched the rest of their murderous plan unfold. KSM says that he was amazed at his handiwork when he saw the towers collapse. On September 21 or 22, 2001, Osama bin Laden recalled KSM to Afghanistan, even though KSM wanted to stay where he was. After analyzing the suicide hijackings, they both got involved in the defense of Afghanistan and the transfer of their families to Pakistan. Having been tipped off, our intelligence agents spotted an associate of KSM at Islamabad International Airport on the morning of February 28, 2003. He was scheduled to meet KSM that evening. Our source informed us that they would be using 2 houses on Peshawar Road, Rawalpindi. A plan was immediately drawn up to arrest them alive. The problem was that our source was unfamiliar with the area and knew the houses only by sight. But by sheer ingenuity, coupled with a deep familiarity with the area, our agents were able to identify the houses on the basis of simple descriptions. At 1:45 the next morning, they surrounded the houses. The entrance doors were broken down, and our agents rushed in, brandishing weapons and shouting. In one of the houses, a man on the ground floor, taken by surprise, immediately pointed upward and said, "They are up there." Without breaking their momentum, our agents ran upstairs and found KSM and his accomplice Mustafa al-Hossawi with loaded Kalashnikov beside them. When KSM managed to pick up his Kalashnikov, one of our officers tried to wrest it from his hand. The gun then went off, and a bullet hit and injured the officer. But before KSM and Mustafa could do further damage, they were overpowered and arrested. It had been a smooth, quick operation. We kept KSM in custody for 3 days, during which time we interrogated him fully. Once we were done with him and had all the information we wanted, we handed him over to the United States government. Abu Zubaydah and KSM are well known to most readers. There are other people less well known whom we have also captured. Of all Manhunt 241, one story in particular reveals just a hint of the vast amounts of intelligence that we have acquired, and some of the dreams and plans of the terrorists that we shattered. This story concerns a Pakistani national. He was born in Karachi and earned a bachelor's degree in computer engineering in 2002. He had actually been recruited by KSM in March 2002. In August 2003, he was sent to Wana in Pakistan's tribal belt to meet Hamza Rabia, Hamza al-Jawfi, Abu Faraj al-Libi, and Abu Hadi al-Iraqi. He also fought in Afghanistan on the Karabagh front during 2000-2001 and carried prize money of $5 million on his head. From December 2003, he had based himself in Lahore and was designated Information Technology Chief of Al-Qaeda in Pakistan, which after the arrest of KSM was headed by Hamza Rabia. He was also a member of a group based in the United Kingdom and assisted the Al-Qaeda Media Committee. After 2 top Al-Qaeda leaders, Amr al-Balachi and Khalid bin Attash were captured. This man became the point man in Karachi. Given al-Qaeda's desire to hit American interests the world over before the presidential elections of 2004 in the United States, he was considered the best person to train a 12-member suicide squad. He did this in Shakai, Northwest Frontier Province, and then sent them to Karachi. During this time, he remained closely associated with the who's who of al-Qaeda, including KSM, Hamza Rabia, Faraj al-Libi, Hadi Iraqi, Hamza al-Jawfi, Hambali Gun, brother of Hambali and Abu Musab al-Balachi, another nephew of KSM and brother of Ramzi Yousef. Our American friends were, quite understandably, very anxious to terminate his activities. They too had been tracking him and gave us vital leads as to his whereabouts. Based on these, our intelligence bureau tracked him from Lahore and arrested him on July 21, 2004. He and his laptop computer proved to be a gold mine of information. We had learned from KSM that al-Qaeda's planners were thinking seriously about and discussing bombing Heathrow Airport in London, the busiest in the world, as well as London's subway system. The suspect had been told by KSM to carry out reconnaissance of and prepare a plan to attack Heathrow Airport. After initial planning, he also suggested Canary Wharf and London's subway system as additional possible targets. 242 in the line of fire 1 cannot say that KSM did not have big plans, the biggest of which, 9/11, he carried out with clockwork precision. The laptop gave us vital information because it contained plans for a terror attack in Britain. We not only gave this information to the British authorities, but also gave them direct access to its owner. Later, this would reveal a link with Sadiq Khan and Shahzad Tanveer. Sadiq and Tanveer were two of the people who were to carry out the suicide bomb attacks on London's underground system on July 7, 2005, a date that has come to be known as 7/7. This information about Sadiq and Tanveer was not shared with us until July 28, 2005, 21 days after the attacks in London, and despite the fact that Sadiq and Tanveer had first been spotted 17 months earlier. Before the subway operation, however, al-Qaeda planned to use the airports and national airlines of the Czech Republic, the Slovak Republic, Croatia, Poland, Romania, and Malta to attack Heathrow, because security at these airports and in their aircraft was lax. Al-Qaeda also decided not to use too many Arab hijackers to avoid suspicion. Instead, it planned to use hardened European Muslim veterans of the Bosnian Jihad, and even Afghans. It asked Hazim al-Sher, killed in Saudi Arabia in 2004, the head of al-Qaeda in Saudi Arabia, to recruit the pilots who would take over the hijacked airliners. Failing that, he should send students to flying schools. They would select flights that landed at Heathrow at about the same time. The signal for the hijackers to act would be the fasten seat belts sign when it was switched on before landing. For weapons, they would use the stainless steel cutlery on the plane, as well as broken alcohol bottles. They hoped to crash the aircraft into the various buildings of Heathrow. According to KSM, another important al-Qaeda operative, Khalid bin Attash, suggested at a later stage in the planning that they change the target from Heathrow to someplace in Israel, but KSM did not agree. All this information was passed on to the British authorities, and fortunately the attack on Heathrow never came to fruition. This was one of our many hidden successes. This source also led us to a group of 15 terrorists in Gujarat, Punjab, one of whom was the computer whiz Ahmed Khalifan Gailani, a 30-year-old Tanzanian national who had been indicted by the United States for the bombings of August 7, 1998. At the American Manhunt, 243 embassies in Dar es Salaam and Nairobi. His real expertise lay in incredibly well-forged travel documents. He had the visas and entry and exit stamps of many countries on his computer. Gailani also trained terrorists and made improvised explosive devices. So important was he to the United States that it had offered a reward of $25 million for any information leading to his arrest. We handed him over to the U.S. authorities on September 4, 2004. His interrogation also revealed an al-Qaeda network operating in the Punjab. This network was finished off when, acting on information from him, we arrested 15 more people comprising al-Qaeda operatives and their families, including a newborn baby, apart from the 15 arrested earlier from Gujarat. The foregoing is just a kaleidoscope of some of our operations against al-Qaeda and its associated terrorist organizations in Pakistan. but it gives a very good idea of the intensity and extent of the war we have successfully fought against them in our cities. For a full story of what it is like to fight the war on terror in Pakistan, we must return to December 25, 2003, just after I survived the bombing of my motorcade.